What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Aaron Loves Wrestling Podcast, and I am your host, Aaron. And we're going to get into this in this episode. We're going to talk about the press conference going to happen tonight. We're going to talk about what just happened on the Pat McAfee show with The Rock. Shots have been fired by The Rock. And then we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about also Scott D'Amore. Some details have been released about his termination, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of the AEW wrestling show last night. First things first, for the love of wrestling, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button for new episodes. Let's help build this podcast. This is going to be a podcast. It's going to be family friendly, and it's going to be clean, and it's going to be open to the public. Comment what you think is going to happen. Comment what you would like to see happen. Free discussion, open debate. Just keep it respectful. Keep it, again, friendly, but don't be afraid to debate and take shots at each other. Just be respectful with it. So we're going to talk about first the Scott D'Amore termination. I just read earlier today that the reasoning for his termination was because of him wanting to make the company bigger, him wanting to go sign major talent, him wanting to increase the budget so they can rent bigger venues to have the TNA shows. The venues that they have right now holds probably a couple hundred people. He wants to go bigger. He wants to increase it because there's a lot of TNA fans out there, and he wants to take it more than where they're at right now. Anthem didn't want to do that. They want to increase the budget. So there's basically a standoff, as it said in the article. And Scott D'Amore has now been terminated by Anthem. Who knows what happened in the meeting? He probably said a couple of FUs, whatever. But Anthem has released him and replaced him with some other guy. Don't even know who he is. But they got a new president now. A lot of the top talent in TNA are upset, such as Moose. I think even Jordan Grace is upset. A lot of them are upset. Moose said the only reason he resigned with TNA is because of Scott D'Amore. He didn't go. He passed up AEW and WWE. They probably reached out to him. They probably said, hey, we got a contract for you. We got a place for you. We got something we can do for you. And he turned it down to stay in TNA wrestling because of Scott D'Amore. Now that says something, because Scott D'Amore brought back the passion and the energy and the drive for TNA wrestling when it has been stale and it has been stagnant for so many years under especially the Impact banner when it was Impact Wrestling. So he listened to the fans and he brought back TNA wrestling, and he was passionate about that. Scott D'Amore brought passion, he brought energy, he brought drive, he brought charisma, he brought back TNA wrestling, and he wanted to make it bigger. He wanted to increase the budget so they can rent out bigger venues to have bigger shows. He probably wanted to make the he wanted to go sign top talent. He probably wanted to go sign Will Ospreay. He probably wanted to bring in Mercedes Moné. He probably wanted to bring in a lot of other top talented wrestlers that are free agents right now. And some contracts are coming up. He probably want to go and get them to bring them on the show, bring views, bring attention, bring money. The more popular talent you have, bigger stars on your show, people are going to watch, people are going to pay tickets, people are going to buy the merchandise for that wrestler. That's how this business works. If you don't have the top talent, you don't have the top stars, you might get a few watching, but you won't get as many as you would with the top talent. He probably wanted to go inside CM Punk when he was a free agent before WWE got him. But Anthem probably said, nah, that's too much money. And that was the reason. So that was the reason he got fired. That was the reason he was terminated, because he wanted to increase the budget so he can do bigger things with TNA wrestling. Scott D'Amore, thank you for what you've done for TNA wrestling. Scott D'Amore, thank you for everything that you brought to TNA. Thank you for bringing back the TNA banner, the TNA logo, the TNA title belts. Thank you for bringing it back and doing away with Impact Wrestling. Thank you. I appreciate you. Now, please, if you would, go to another company. Go to AEW. Go to NWA. Go to WWE. Somebody that will take you in and use you in your pick your brains and let you have a say in things and let you get being creative, have a say in creative. You're great. Scott Demore, thank you and appreciate you. Moving on to last night's AEW show. I watched it last night. It was a great show, especially the Sting winning the AEW World Tag Team Championships with Darby Allin. Man, it was great. I did not like the ending, though, and we'll get to that here a little bit later. But first off, the first match was Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve. It was a draw with a 30-minute time limit. I love that they brought that back in AEW wrestling, the 30-minute time limit. That used to be a big thing back in the old school wrestling days, and a lot of you old school fans know. Some of you younger ones, you're like, whoa, that was a thing back in the day. Some people probably find it lame. I like it, and it also puts a time limit on these matches where they don't go over, where they don't spend too much time and go over time in the ring, and it spaces out the show to where you can get everything within the show. Most of the matches finish in AEW within the time limit, 20 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute. This one, they had it go all the way 30 for the draw to create the drama, and at the end of the match, Swerve was about to get the winning pin, and then right before the 3 count happened, literally his hand was coming down for the 3. The bell rung. He stopped. The referee stopped it. Justin Roberts announced it on the mic. 30-minute time limit. This match is in a draw. And then Hangman Adam Page is laughing. Swerve gets the microphone, and he says, "Let's go another 5 minutes. I'm demanding another 5 minutes." And Hangman grabs the microphone, and he laughs. And so supposedly with the rankings, Hangman Adam Page is the number 1 contender. Supposedly that was the thing last night. Well, him laughing, he said, "No bueno. No, we're not doing this. I'm the number 1 contender. You're not. Better luck next time." It's not exactly what he said, but paraphrasing here. He exits the ring, and then Tony Schiavone, the great Tony Schiavone, gets on the microphone. He says he just talked with Tony Khan, and now there's 2 number 1 contenders, and it's going to be a triple threat match for the AEW World Championship at AEW Revolution. So we're going to have Swerve versus Samoa Joe and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match. I like that. I think that's going to be great. I think it's going to be a fun match. And who's going to win? I don't know. I'm hoping Hangman Adam Page. I'm a big fan. But if Joe retains or Swerve wins, it's still going to be great either way. But I'm pulling for Hangman in this one. Been a huge Hangman fan for a while. Love him. And got his back 100%. Except for the whole CM Punk thing he's pulled in AEW. But that's another story. That's another conversation. Forgive and forget. Let go. We move on to Toni Storm versus Red Velvet. Toni Storm wins with the ankle lock that she calls break a leg. And then Perosa was on a commentary with Tony Schiavone and Taz and Excalibur. So she went after the match, and she saw Tony win with the break a leg ankle lock. Toni Storm held the submission in a little bit longer. Perosa got up. She got in the middle between her and Red Velvet. And then there was a weird thing that happened. Toni Storm sniffed Perosa, and then the Butler came in and separated them. Toni Storm exited. Then the Butler got out. And that was the end of that. Next up, what happened was the Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Claudio, and Bryan Danielson versing against CMLL. Now, who the wrestlers are and their names, I don't know, but they were great last night. I enjoyed watching them. I might tune in to CMLL wrestling. Gotta love them luchadors and their wrestling. They wow you. I mean, they do some moves that you didn't even think a human could do. It was a great match last night. Blackpool Combat Club came out with the win. There was some other CMLL talent from the roster there in the crowd. They jumped the barricade. attacking Blackpool Combat Club. And then you saw a few from the back of the AEW roster. They come out and they stand their ground with Blackpool Combat Club. So it looks like we're probably going to get at AEW Revolution a brand warfare between CMLL and AEW. It's not confirmed. I don't know, but it's just what is looking like. I think I'll watch it, but it's not something I'm invested in. Not as the triple threat match is going to go on, not as the Sting retirement match. Gonna hate it when he goes. Been a big Sting fan since I was young. Love him. And I hate that we never got the Undertaker versus Sting match. That is the one thing I hate, is we never got that match. They're too old now. Maybe they can still do it. One more go. Next year's WrestleMania. I'm just kidding. Hated that we never got that match. That, to me, is the other dream match that we should have gotten that we'll never get. Just like Cena versus Hogan, we'll never get. Sting and Undertaker we won't get. But looks like at WrestleMania we're going to get Roman versus The Rock. Again, we'll get to that later. Back to AEW after that, and then we go to the next match, which is Chris Jericho versus Takeshita. I think I said his name right. Takeshita won the match against Jericho with the interference of Don Callis. Takeshita, that's what it is. And it wasn't that long of a match, probably about 15-ish minutes. Good 20-minute time limit, but it was a good match. I watched it. Don Callis interfered. We'll see what happens next week, if they come back next week. And then after that, the main event, Sting versus Darby Allin. Man, that was a good match. Texas Tornado tag match. Haven't seen that tag team match in a minute. I love how AEW does those type of matches. Wish WWE would do a little bit more, but AEW brought some of that back. That was the match last night. It was great. Sting versus and Darby versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill. If you probably recognize him as Big Cass in WWE when he was with Enzo Amore and that tag team group. Man, I missed that. I hope one day we can see them back together again in WWE in the tag team division, getting the push and the recognition they deserve because they were great. And if you don't like that, I only got one word to describe you: SAWFT, soft. Man, I missed that. But Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Sting and Darby Allin for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Long story short, the match ended with Sting hitting his Scorpion Death Drop on Ricky Starks, and he got the pin 1, 2, 3. His actual sons, were in the crowd. They're pretty big boys. There's some big boys as well. They got into the ring, were celebrating, and at the end, you're seeing Matt and Nick come into the ring, and man, it ticked me off because this is Sting's last world title victory. You couldn't have at least. And I get the story. You're trying to create heat on the Young Bucks. Matt and Nick Jackson. You're trying to create heat on the Young Bucks. But I disagree with the ending there. You should have let Sting have this moment with Darby and his sons and then do something next week. It created a lot of heat. I'm mad at the Young Bucks. But we'll see what happens next week. Obviously, this is going to be the retirement match. I was hoping it was not going to be the retirement match because I did not want to see Sting in a retirement match. One, in a tag team match. I get it, he's 64 years old, but come on, give us one good singles match with somebody you respect and would have been a good selection. I think Bryan Danielson would have been great, a great selection. Darby Allin even would have been a great selection. I mean, passing the torch on the Darby Allin. I mean, anything but this tag team match. But looks like it's going to be. Probably going to have fun with it. Who knows what kind of match type it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it might be some kind of no disqualification match or steel cage or something. Maybe even their version of Hell in a Cell. We'll see. You're going to see over the next few weeks with the story. I'm glad Sting is a champion again, even though it is the tag team championship. That was the end of AEW. They went off air with Young Bucks with blood over them because Darby Allin got busted open. It wasn't your typical beatdown. It was a really good beatdown by the Young Bucks. So hopefully next week we'll get to see Sting and Darby get their payback, and we'll probably get a promo from them, I'd imagine, and probably them setting up the tag team match, Sting even setting up the tag team match at AEW Revolution. Now, on to today, the big news, the big story that I'm excited to share, because today, The Rock took shots at Cody Rhodes. That's right. Pat McAfee show, The Rock is on there as a special guest. They're in Las Vegas, not only for the Super Bowl, but for the WWE press conference that's about to happen tonight in a couple hours. I'm stoked. I'm ready. I'm ready to see what's going to happen. I'm ready to see what the match is going to be. Is it going to be Roman versus Cody? Is it going to be a triple threat? According to Dave Meltzer, that's not going to happen. He said that it's more likely going to be night one, it's going to be Roman versus Rock, and then night two is going to be Cody versus Roman, or Cody versus the champion. I said it my last episode, I would like to see Cody announce either tonight or no announcement tonight. And then over the past few weeks, Cody goes on a little depression road and doesn't know who he is anymore. All this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Then you have some wrestlers pep him back up with some talking to him. And, from Punk, from maybe even Seth, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn. Probably not Seth Rollins. That wouldn't make too much sense. But Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, maybe even his own brother, Dustin Rhodes, coming back and talking to him. I don't know if he's still under contract with AEW or if they would allow him to do so, but that would be great. Maybe even doing a little video and doing that way. And it shows on the big Videotron that they got. So that is what happened today, was what Cody. That's what's going to happen tonight. Excuse me. What's going to happen tonight is going to be on Peacock, 7 o'clock Central. We're going to see the big announcement. And they just announced also Big E, Michael Cole, CM Punk even, and Pat McAfee are going to be the hosts. Big E is back. CM Punk's going to be back on the microphone. And we'll see what he even has to say tonight. Because if you remember, 10 years ago, one of the reasons he left is because The Rock took his main event spot to face John Cena at WrestleMania. Took the title from him, won it from him at the Rumble, and then took his spot at Mania. We'll see what he has to say tonight. We'll see what he has to say to Cody even tonight. Maybe they'll even get a little promo going between them. Hey, don't let The Rock do what he did to me 10 years ago. That kind of thing. We'll see. But The Rock on the Pat McAfee show, I watched it. It was great. He was talking about his new Moana 2 movie coming out that was announced today as well. He was talking about his in-ring training camp, so to speak, training in the ring to prep for WrestleMania. And he even called out Cody Rhodes and all his fans. He went on to say, long story short, let's start hashtag CodyCryBabies. And of course, I went on there and did it. Now you see my American Nightmare Cody Rhodes hat. I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan. And I hate that this little wrench in the road, a little wrench in the road, and Rock coming back to bring the megastar in WrestleMania, a megastar in WrestleMania. And maybe, again, no official announcement yet. And a lot of fans, especially Cody fans, are getting upset and are taking things way too far. Too far as even threatening The Rock's daughter, who is known as Ava Raine on NXT, the NXT general manager, and sent her death threats. That is ridiculous. One, she didn't even have nothing to do with the whole thing. She's just The Rock's daughter. And you're going to threaten his daughter. That's ridiculous. Rock even talked about that some today in the Pat McAfee show. But he wasn't calling out the Cody fans. You Cody and want to start the hashtag CodyCryBabies, and y'all just shut up. Explicit words. You can fill in the blanks there. But he basically told him to shut up. And he started the hashtag CodyCryBabies. And, of course, I chimed in because it is true. We don't even know what's going to go on. More than likely, it's going to be Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. Now, here's the thing. Whether it be night 1 or night 2. If it's night 1, that means Cody will still have main event night 2, possibly with Roman. Or if it's on the WWE title's on the line, it could be possibly The Rock. And if that's the case, then we get to see Cody versus Rock at WrestleMania. I'm wondering if that's what they're building up right now, because he just called out Cody. Now we got Roman, and Rock's possibly going to face Roman. And if they put the title on the line night 1 with Rock and Roman, now that would mean Seth Rollins wouldn't be in the main event and still would not have his main event spot. But if they did that, and then Cody faces the winner night 2, and then The Rock wins, bro, that match would be huge. Probably even bigger than Cody versus Roman. I mean, the story they could tell with that, even if The Rock wins. If The Rock wins, and then The Rock is now the WWE champion over the next few months, maybe even leading into SummerSlam, or maybe even just leading into Backlash. It's going to be in France at that big arena. They want to probably sell it out and fill it up. What better way to do that than have Cody versus Rock for the WWE title rematch, Cody invoking his rematch clause, or we can even do the triple threat match there with Cody, Rock, and Roman, because Roman will still have a rematch clause in play, if they still do that anymore. But if they did, then that would sell out the arena. And then everybody will be pulling for Cody. And those foreign countries crowds, man, they get into it. They get into it. They really hijack the shows. I mean, they did. If you saw the Backlash last year at Puerto Rico, I mean, that one was good. It's just, there's so many ways they can go about it into WrestleMania with this. And this is where I'm going to lead up to talking about the press conference tonight. If we have Rock come out, and it looks like as of now he's possibly going heel, so we'll probably get heel versus heel, Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania, or fans will be cheering for Roman at WrestleMania. I don't know if it's night 2 and Cody and Seth is night 1. I don't know what's going to happen with the fans. Night 2 main event WrestleMania. I don't know. Would they walk out? There's that. Would they even walk out after the match leading up to the main event, Rock versus Roman? Would you see some empty seats? I mean, that's a possibility. That is Now, I wouldn't blow my money like that. I would stay for the whole entire show. I bought the ticket, especially spending that much money on a WrestleMania ticket. I'm going to stay for the whole show. But the fans are that serious of Cody getting his shot at the WWE Championship. Now, if we get the best of both worlds of Roman and Rock night 1, Cody versus the champ, or Cody versus Roman night 2, because they could go about it this way. They don't have the WWE title on the line with Rock versus Roman. Rock could just be coming for that head of the table tribal chief title. No official title, hopefully. They wouldn't do that, but you never know. I've seen Rikishi share on his Instagram page, I think it was, or X page, there was an actual title created, and it was called the Tribal Chief. Is that a hint of what's going to happen at WrestleMania? Are they going to challenge for that title at WrestleMania? Are they going to challenge for the Tribal Chief head of the table? I hope not. It doesn't need a title belt. It does not. But we've seen crazy title belts created before. 24/7 championship. That was a joke. And then after that, if Rock wins, then he's the head of the table. He's the tribal chief. And guess who has to listen to him? Solo and Jimmy. And then you have Roman versus Cody night 2. And then Rock, and leading up to the match that night, and one of the backstage promos, he can tell both of them, like, don't get involved. As your tribal chief, I'm telling you to stay away from ringside. Do not get involved in this match. Roman needs to do this for himself. He needs to go out there and prove that he can win himself. And if he doesn't, then it shows that he was a fraud as a tribal chief. Because as you see, I beat him. I am now the tribal chief. I am now the head of the table. I'm your tribal chief, and you should acknowledge me now. Now, Paul Heyman don't have to listen because he's not involved in the bloodline. Now, I heard this idea from another podcast. This isn't my idea. I'm just sharing this because I thought this was a great idea. Paul Heyman's not a part of the bloodline, so he doesn't have to listen to The Rock. But Solo and Jimmy do. And Jay. And any other Samoan that of the bloodline that Roman tries to bring in. They have to answer to The Rock. If he wins, then he's the tribal chief. Now, it doesn't say that Paul Heyman can't get involved. It doesn't say that he can't help Roman. But then there's the scenario that this was brought up by the said person who came up with this idea. Paul can even stab Roman in the back. Paul can even turn on Roman, see the fraud that he is. And then maybe align with The Rock. Or maybe try to align with Cody. I mean, it is Philadelphia. That's Paul Heyman's home. That's where he did ECW. I mean, we can see him turn face, turn on Roman. Who knows? There's so many roads that they could go down on with this storyline. And the fans are getting worked up. Even if it is, again, what we know already. Roman versus Rock night 2. Cody versus Seth night 1 for the World Heavyweight title. Even if it is, don't you think Cody and Seth are going to give the best match all in 100%, no pun intended, all in, of their lives, of their careers in that match, just so they can outshine Rock versus Roman, pushing that bar, elevating that bar, setting it, and say, all right, boys, y'all match this. You don't think that's going to happen? It could. I don't know. We'll find out tonight. Rock, again, shots fired. A lot of people who have been calling The Rock selfish and his big ego and why can't he just step aside and all this. I've heard podcasts saying that. And I just saw this one podcast now supposedly slightly changed his mind because The Rock did what he did today. Shots fired. And well, if we get Hollywood Rock, maybe this would work. Why do we have to have Hollywood Rock? Why can't we just be happy with Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania? The match that we wanted last year, we didn't get. You said, oh, well, Cody needs to finish his story. Okay. Keep crying, because it doesn't look like he is unless they do the scenario of Roman versus Rock night 1 and then Cody versus the champ night 2. That's the only way it's going to happen. Or the other option is that we get The Rock as special guest referee for this match. A match this big needs The Rock. Maybe that's it. I mean, they brought back special guest referee in the WWE video game. Maybe this is going to be a way that they're going to brag about it and advertise for it. Maybe. I don't know. That may not happen. Look, Rock is training in the ring. He is training for a match at WrestleMania. So it's more likely he's going to face Roman, which I'm excited for. I'm excited even for Cody. Winning the World Heavyweight Championship, that was a title his father held, and his father held with pride, and he carried that title with pride in WCW and in NWA. Dusty Rhodes carried that World Heavyweight Championship. And Seth is right, he made it the Workhorse Championship. And it was a great, and to me, it is a better championship than the WWE Championship belt. The big gold belt, you just can't beat it. You just can't beat that belt. That, to me, is always going to be the most prestigious and the greatest championship in the history of pro wrestling. I love the United States Championship. That's honestly my favorite title belt. I love the look. It's America's championship. And the history of that title. There's even a United States Tag Team Championships that they've had one at one point. I even think NW Power brought it back as another tag team title belts. But the World Heavyweight title, it has prestige. It has a lineage. So many legends have won that championship. Ric Flair, he's the big one. The 16-time world champion. John Cena, also 16-time world champion. Randy Orton, Undertaker, Triple H, Edge, Batista, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, Sting, Goldberg, Hulk Hogan. I can keep going of many legends and Hall of Famers that have won and carried that world championship and made it prestigious and made it relevant and elevated it and made it valuable. And now Seth Rollins has done that with it since he's won the championship. But to me, Seth Rollins' time is done. I would like to see Drew or Cody. If Cody wins it, he's going to make that title real big, just as big as it was back in the day. Cody Rhodes can win that title and carry that title with pride and honor and bring it to prestige. Bring prestige back to the title. Excuse me. I mean, Seth Rollins has already brought prestige back to the title. I don't even say Cody. Seth Rollins. And even if Seth Rollins wins and retains the title, still great. For so long, I'm not going to say said person's name here on this because I'm just not. But the former owner of WWE, it was like every other month we had a new champion, or every other couple months, or we'd have a champion that would hardly be on the show, like Brock Lesnar was, and Goldberg, and I mean, you name, and now Roman. They've held those World Heavyweight Championships, and then Universal Championship, and then you hardly saw them on the shows and things like that. I would like to at least see them on the show, cutting a promo. I like to see them in wrestling matches. They don't have to put the title on the line every week. That's one thing I can't stand by AEW. They're putting a title on the line about near every single week. The AEW International Championship was on the line last week, and now it's on the line again this coming Saturday. Or no, not last week, week before last. It's just week after week, there's some kind of title on the line. It's like, okay, there's no prestige to the title. The championship match is supposed to be special. It's supposed to be a big event. Could we see someone win it, or could we see the champion retain the belt? I don't know. But that's what the title match should be about, not a match every single week and the champion face somebody you pretty much know is not going to win. They're not going to win the championship. That brings no prestige to the title. No prestige or any kind of honor or anything to the title. The championship should be treated special. The championship matches should be treated special. The champions themselves should be treated as special. And I'm not saying as in what Roman is doing and hardly wrestling every single week and hardly showing up. I mean, SmackDown, you can hardly see the champion, but you got Raw. He's on there every week. Now, he doesn't have to defend the title every week, but if he's on there carrying that belt, cutting a promo, having a match, having a tag team match, that's good. I want to keep seeing that, and I'd like to see it on SmackDown with whomever wins the WWE Championship. Now, we probably won't see that because if The Rock wins, I mean, unless he's coming back, and because he said he's in it for the long game. What does that mean? Is his long game from now until Mania? And he's going to be showing up every week on SmackDown, or his long game past Mania, and he's going to be here, and he's going to be continuing this rivalry with Roman and the Bloodline, or coming back for one good last run. Who knows? But there's so many people hating on The Rock right now. It is just absolutely ridiculous. They're they're hating on him with his Black Adam movies and DC. They said he tried to take over DC. He didn't try to take over DC. He didn't try to take that over. I said this yesterday. he was just trying to create Black Adam, and he was just trying to create a showdown between Black Adam versus Superman. He was trying to make that big movie, but then DC scrapped that and said, no, we're not going that direction. And then once they fired Henry, then The Rock left. He wasn't trying to take it over, and he wasn't trying to take over the NFL. He created the XFL for opportunity for guys who didn't get drafted. They didn't have to go get a 9-to-5 job. They can still do what they do, and still do what they love to do and play football, and just keep playing the XFL and get paid. It's not going to be a big paycheck like the NFL, but they keep playing, keep getting better, and they're on TV. You got these NFL teams and the scouts looking at these guys, and we've already seen plenty from the USFL and XFL go to the NFL and get signed and are starters for NFL teams. I mean, you can't hate the guy for that. To me, I actually applaud him for that, for giving guys a chance like that. You can even go to an open tryout right now if you think you still got it and go sign with the XFL and maybe get your road started back to the NFL. I mean, how can you hate the guy for that? He didn't try to take any of those things over, and he's not trying to take WWE over. He is now on the board of directors, and he probably is going to have a say in creative. And there's this whole rumor going around that Triple H is getting pushed out, and Rock and this Brian whatever guy's coming in, and they're going to be in charge of creative. They're going to write the stories. That's bullcrap. Triple H is not on his way out. Him and Rock doesn't have beef. There's the story going that Ari Emanuel wants to get rid of everybody else under the Vince McMahon umbrella. Well, if you're going to do that, you're going to be rid of a lot of people, and a lot of people that had nothing to do with, I said his name already, Vince McMahon. I get it, you want to erase him, but you erase him and Brock Lesnar. Erase both of them. But anybody that had nothing to do with it, now if they knew about it and they didn't do anything about it, then that's bad in itself. But you don't have to get rid of Triple H. Stephanie McMahon going to go? Is she going to be brought back? Is she even going to be mentioned? Is her name even going to be mentioned again in WWE? I don't know. Same as Shane McMahon. But they did distance themselves because maybe they did find out. And who knows what they've done on their end. And if they knew about it and they didn't say nothing, then to me they're just as guilty than the person. I mean, you cannot say, I don't even care who it is and how close you are to the person. If they're doing something as evil as what Vince McMahon did and you don't say nothing, I mean, that's bad. I won't say that. But enough with that. That's why The Rock came back. He came back so we can get our minds off that Vince McMahon stuff. Now, how big this is with Vince, probably won't. It's going to be around for a little while. Especially if he goes to trial and he gets criminally charged. I mean, that's going to be a sticking. Everybody's going to keep talking about that. But The Rock came back to get people and get their minds off of all that. And he did. He did. Everybody's talking about Cody. We want Cody. We want this. We want that. Now he did what he did today. CodyCryBabies, and he's starting that up. He's stirring the pot doing that, and now who knows what they're going to start trending and hashtagging and tweeting about now, and it's just keep getting better. This story, this road we're on to WrestleMania, stop crying. Stop hating on it. Stop being negative about it. Be happy. Be happy that we have this opportunity to see what is about to take place in the next few months leading up to WrestleMania. Or next month, I would say, leading up to WrestleMania. Even if we do just get Roman and The Rock and Cody versus Seth, those two main events are going to be great. Now, it looks like they could very possibly be leading up with Gunther versus Jey Uso and Jey Uso possibly dethroning Gunther. I hope so. I would love to see Jey Uso with the Intercontinental title. Or they'll probably just have him challenge for it at Elimination Chamber. That's probably where they're going with it. But I would love to see Braun Breaker defeat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I love Braun Breaker. Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Becky. Well, now we got Liv Morgan involved. Honestly, that could be a triple threat match. Why can't that be a triple threat match? Let's have that Rhea versus Liv versus Becky. That would be great. We got Bayley versus Io. What about Rhea versus Liv versus Becky? All three of them. Because Becky and Liv both want Rhea. And they both have history and everything together. And after Rhea defeats Nia, which she's probably going to at Elimination Chamber, I don't see her losing in her hometown, then we could either get Becky versus Rhea, or we can get Liv, Becky, and Rhea. Maybe. There's story there. The tag team championships, we're going to wait and see what's going to happen there. We're going to have the number one contender this Friday night between Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate and DIY. That match is going to be a banger. That's going to be a great match. I'm still waiting to see Sheamus come back. I would like to see him dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania. Let's have Sheamus win and dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania. Get him his Intercontinental Championship WrestleMania moment that he's been wanting for some time. It was a triple threat last year with Drew McIntyre. Let's see Sheamus win the championship, and let's see him dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania. Then we can maybe even see Drew win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Then we can see Drew versus Gunther for the world title, and that rivalry stirring up. Man, this is just so many stories that are possible. So many stories that we're leading, are possible leading to it after WrestleMania, and then you got to think of the draft. When that's going to happen, I think Triple H is going to do the same thing. He's going to have it along the same time when the NFL draft happens, which is going to be soon after WrestleMania. Same thing the NFL does soon after the Super Bowl. I like that. And now that we have two general managers, it's going to be way better than it has been. It's going to be, I think Nick and Adam are going to do great in the WWE draft and that kind of storyline, because I'd love to see brand warfare. I missed it. The greatest to me was when Paul Heyman was the GM of SmackDown and Eric Bischoff was the GM of Raw, and they brought competition. They brought competition with both brands, trying to one-up the other. It was like their own respective shows, and they're competing against one another. It was like WCW versus ECW. That's what it was like. They were doing great, and that's what I love to see Nick and Adam replicate and bring back, because I have missed that, because you have two brands, but you've been treating them as one show, and it didn't make sense. And a lot of people are saying, well, I hate two brands. They should get rid of one, and they should continue with one. No, keep two, and then have Nick and Adam compete with the brands. That's what I'd like to see. But pay attention to the press conference tonight. I'm going to, and I'll make a video later to talk about it. And follow me on X, follow me on Facebook, subscribe, like, share, and comment below your thoughts on what's going to happen tonight. And for the love of wrestling, love wrestling, guys. Peace out.